You will.
There we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Faces for Autism South Jersey Field of Dreams dinner. I'm Jake Packett. Now it's time to hear from a parent who's been involved with Faces since the beginning. Karyn Adams. Her boys are heavily involved in the Special Olympics, Matthew's mission with the Brigantine Aquatic Center, and to add to all that, she wrote a book. So she's going to share with us information about the book and how she can help us. Please welcome Karyn Adams. Karyn, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Jacob, for inviting me. This is an honor. Faces, as far as, that's where it all started for us about over 5 years ago. I say maybe close to 6 years ago. And I wanted the boys to learn how to swim. I mean, I know for autism, that's like the number one drowning is one of the number one causes of for kids with autism because they are drawn to the water. So I really wanted Stan to learn and Stefan to learn. And I did come across, an ad for Massey's mission, which is through Faces for Autism, a water safety program that would teach, kids how to swim. So I did reach out to Faces and they told me about it. And then they also told me the different swim schools in the area that were participating in the program. And one of the schools was Brigantine Aquatic Center. So I called and I talked to Sari Carroll, one of the coaches there, and told her that, I wanted Stan to learn how to swim. And I asked her if she can also teach my other son, Stefan, who has other special needs, if she could teach him how to swim as well. And she was very gracious, to do that. And then the boys started going, swimming. I guess this was about April of 2017. And then they learned to swim in 6 months. And towards this was going to be Stan's last year in high school. So Sari came to me, it was in the fall, and she said, you know what, Absegami has a swim team. What do you think about, having Stan swim on the team? And I told her my concern was, are these nice kids? And she goes, oh, they're really amazing. They have this new coach. I think he would be on board with this. And sure enough, I met Coach Winkler. We call him Coach Wink. And he was, he really loved the idea. So Stan started going and, started going to swim practice. And then at one point, one day he came home, he was so frustrated. He goes, oh, this is too hard for me. I don't think I want to do it. So, being concerned, I reached out to Coach Wink and I told him what was going on. He goes, you know what? He said, I think we just need to tailor the practice for Stan so that he's getting more breaks. So they made some adjustments in the practice. And then Coach Wing had decided on January 3rd was going to be the day that Stan debuted his, as far as swimming in the swim meet. And that was it was in Ocean City at the Ocean City Community Center. So on this particular day, Stan went up to start swimming. And I think he first had a false start, I believe. We were all nervous that, it would rattle him, but he did not. He got back on the block. And when it was time to swim, he started to swim and he was swimming and swimming. And then as he was coming back, I looked and everybody was cheering him on, all of his teammates, parents, not only for Absegami, but also parents that were for Ocean City and both teams. And once he was done swimming, like the whole place erupted. When I think about that day, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. It was like time just stopped. And it was this was his moment. And it was amazing. Afterwards, after he's finished swimming, of course, his teammates, embraced him. Coach Sari was crying, Coach Wink gave him a hug, and, we all had a nice hug and we were all crying. And till this day, I don't think Stan realized the how big a deal that was. So after that particular swim, Stan became the local celebrity, I would say. So, he was, in the papers, the press, the current Glory Days magazine, interviews, and they were interviewing Coach Wink. And I mean, this was just, last year, as far as being a senior over at Absegami. So he was named the prom king, and he got the athlete of the year award at Absegami, and he was chosen to be the, he received the community leadership award for through Faces for Autism, and he also a couple of years later he received a Donald J. Sykes Award after the swimming and Stan becoming the local celebrity. The swim school decided to start a Special Olympic swim team, Brigantine Aquatic Center, and they named it after Stan. It was called the Special Olympics swim team, and they made him the captain. So Stan, Stefan, and some other, a few other really amazing young men, they were all, they started competing for Special Olympics and won some medals. So, it was just amazing. And it all stemmed from that. And recently, Brigantine Aquatic Center, they renamed the Special Olympic swim team the Stanley Special Friends, which is amazing, which, gives Stan a legacy. And it's just been amazing. Everybody's just embraced not only Stan, Stefan, my whole family. And I just feel like Faces for Autism, even after, the swimming, just trying to stay involved and try to, support Faces for Autism, as much as I can, because I mean, it all started with them. If we didn't have the Massey's mission, we may not have had the Stan story. And also, Brigantine Aquatic Center for being so gracious and, bringing the boys on to teach them as well. So, Faces for Autism, I just, and it's such an important organization to have in this area, because for kids who are newly diagnosed, parents are overwhelmed with information. They don't know what to do. They have Faces for Autism. There's a wealth of resources there. So, so that's how my family, started with Faces. Jacob.
Well, Karyn, that is such a heartwarming story to hear that Stan was able to be just like any other kid on the swim team, swimming and inspiring people to look at it and say, hey, I'm not the only one here. Look, I'm just another kid. And you want that. That's our hope for the future, is that whether it's a local swim team like Brigantine or like Coach Lincoln Absegami, you want that, and you want to be embraced. And that's the beauty of the world today, is that they're embracing people no matter who they are.
I totally believe that. And it's really amazing, and even after, after Stan left, recently speaking with Coach Wink, and he mentioned that if it wasn't for Stan, there's so many other kids who've come through Absegami and they've wanted to be on the swim team because of Stan, so it started with him, and it continues. So that's also amazing.
So it's great because he's left, as you said, he's left a legacy, but he's left his mark at the same time.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And then Stefan, Stefan also went to Absegami, and Stefan also swam on the Absegami swim team, and he loved taking media. So he became the sportscaster over at GAMI. So he did a lot of interviews, and he would do his sports prediction videos. And, so he was known for, doing the interviews, being the sportscaster. And he was the homecoming king, you know, um, over at Apsigami. So, I mean, we had great, we've had great experiences over at Apsigami. We've had challenges, both boys have had challenges, while they were there, but, with the right support, the right people in your village, and which included, coaches and counselors and therapists and physicians, we were able to work through those challenges.
Yeah, and that's great because, like you just said, it takes a village to 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 get to the finish line at the end of the day, ultimately, and to see that the boys have excelled as well as they have, to see that Stan is taking on sports. No, Stan swimming and Stefan is a sportscaster, and then homecoming queen. That just shows you as a parent how much they are loved, respected, and admired at Gabby.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And Stefan played golf for Gammy also.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a pretty good golfer. Both of them are.
both of them. Now, you recently wrote a book, The Stan Adams Story, Don't Don't Give Up. I read a synopsis of it on Amazon. For the audience watching this before Karyn talks about the book, it's a very inspiring story of one's life that has autism, because every person that has autism, the story can be completely different, one person to the other. No one is ever the same. Karyn, talk about the book.
Well, people have been telling me through the years, oh, you should write a book. You should write a book. And a few years ago, there was a college student who had reached out to Isabel Mosca from Faces. And at that particular time, he thought he had to write a book about, a kid with a disability. But then he later found on it was just a presentation. But I sent him information about Stan. And, he really was really intrigued by this story. He gave the presentation, and he kept saying, "Oh, you should write a book. You should write a book." So one particular day, I would say about a couple of years ago, actually on Stan's birthday, and the house was quiet, and I said, "Oh, let me just sit down at the computer. Let's see." And before I knew, I had 10 pages. So I had this story. It was just a matter of sitting down and writing it. And then I just kind of built from there, and I had people collaborate, talk about their experiences with Stan. And, I didn't want it to be a book where I just talked about Stan. I wanted other people to share their experiences about, with Stan, and also show some pictures of all these accomplishments, that he had. So the book starts off talking about the early years, trying to get that diagnosis, the challenges that, he faced, and the triumphs. So I wanted it to be a labor of love, and it has become one. I wanted it to inspire people, and it has. I've had lots of people to reach out to me telling me how much the book inspired them. We had a book signing over at Shore Space over in Brigantine. It was hosted by Brigantine Aquatic Center and myself. And people came in for the book signing. It was amazing. We had close to 60 people that came. And, so a lot of people bought their own books, and I signed them, and other people purchased them. So that was amazing. The book just had a milestone. 100 books were sold. And this book was published December 8th. And I think that that's amazing, being that the book was recently published. And December 8th is a special day for me because it was also a day that my mom passed. So it was bittersweet, you know, getting the book published. I was blessed that Patrice Dawson, a couple months ago, she was able to print out the book and I was able to show my mom, and she, you know, she loved the book. So I know that she was pleased. So it's been amazing. I've, you know, been invited to do some podcasts like with you. You're the first one, Jacob. So you're special.
Oh wow, I'm lucky number one. I like that. I'm honored that I'm the first one to have you on about the book.
Yeah, so it's been amazing. It's been more than I could even have imagined, the response.
And Karyn, that's just one of those things. You put something down on paper, you'll go, okay, let's see how this goes. And then fear creeps in, well, not fear, but the thought creeps in your mind. How is this going to go? And you don't know. I mean, you could wake up in the morning and go, okay, let's see how today goes. Today may not have gone as well as yesterday, but that doesn't mean the book hasn't gone well. But to hear that today is February 5th, right?
February 4th.
4th, thank you. I'm ahead of myself. But to hear that today is February 4th and that you have sold 100 copies, that is incredible. Friends, the book is on Amazon. The book is also available on Kindle and for your Audible devices. Download it. As I told you, I read the synopsis. Prepare to be inspired. That's all I will say. Download the book. It's a great book. Download it, read it, share it with your friends, share it online, give it a rating, do whatever you would like to do. So, Karyn, my last question tonight is, if you could give any parents any advice on the spectrum, just anything at all, joining Faces, joining Massey's Mission, joining the Special Olympic Swim Team, what would you say?
I would say never say can't. You know, we never say that word in our house. You have to, first let's talk about school. You have to be your kid's advocate, because who can advocate more for your kid than you can? You know, make sure that everyone at the school knows who you are. You know, make sure you attend all the meetings that you're supposed to. Let your kid try different things. You know, there may be something like, you know, karate, baseball, you know, you're not sure this will be something that they would like, but they might surprise you. You know, try different things, and then trust me, you will find something, or they will find something that they really enjoy. You know, you have to keep them busy, you know, you know, make sure you have all the different, you know, if there's additional services they need, to make sure they get those services. Make sure that you have a village behind you, because, you know, we couldn't do this ourselves. I'm talking about my family. There had to be a village. So create a village that can be, you know, that can include, you know, teachers and counselors, or, you know, people in your community, physicians, you know, make sure you join organizations like Faces. You know, you have Heart of Surfing, you have 21 Down. There's lots of different organizations, like just right in this community. But if you don't live in this community, just seek them out where you are. There's a wealth of information. I know around here, there's so many parents that I know of that have a wealth of information. And if you don't know, there's people here that you can ask. So never give up on your kid. And, you know, in our house, we say, when things get tough, we just keep swimming. So, you know, when things get tough, just keep swimming and never give up.
No, never give up. And I'm proud to be, Karyn knows this, one of the social media assistants for Faces. She's seen the things that I have posted. We have There is a Faces Autism support group that's there for a reason. We're there for a reason. Karyn's on that site for a reason. I'm on that site for a reason. We're there to help you. Don't be afraid to reach out. I've had people ask me, how do we get involved in the Field of Dreams? Here you go. Send you information right away. How do you get involved in the Brigantine Aquatic Center? Here you go. Information. There's a wealth of information everywhere. Reach out. We'll get you where you have to go. Karyn, any last thoughts?
You know, I would also say that, no one knows everything. Like, I feel like I know, a lot, but once you get to a point when you feel like you know everything, then that's a problem. There's so much information. And as Jacob mentioned, there's so many people, so many organizations around that are there to support you. And a lot of times it's just a matter of you seeking out that support for you, not only for you, but for your family. And I know for kids that are on the spectrum is very broad, but sometimes, and there will be days that will not be good days, but you just have to hang in there, because things will get better as long as you seek out help and resources that are available to you. Then there is light at the end of the tunnel. So there will be days that aren't that great. There'll be challenging days. However, just keep going, because there is light at the end of the tunnel.
And I'll leave you with this. Make the best of every situation, even if it's a poor one or you're having the worst day possible. Make the best of every situation and don't dwell on the situations. There's a saying called, "This too shall pass," but it will. And friends, that is my last sentence for tonight.